I found the painting at a small antique shop on the outskirts of town. It wasn't supposed to be there. The owner, an old man with eyes that looked like polished glass, said the piece had arrived overnight. No name, no record of who brought it in. He looked relieved when I showed interest, like he'd been waiting for someone, anyone, to take it away. It was a portrait, a woman, sitting in a dimly lit room, her hands folded neatly on her lap. The details were incredible, too real. Her skin looked soft, her eyes glistened as if wet, but there was something wrong with them. The longer I stared, the more I was sure she was staring back. The tag beneath it read only 2 words: "Do not sell." When I asked about it, the shopkeeper's smile vanished. He said, "If you really want it, take it, but don't hang it where you sleep." He even refused my money. I laughed it off. Superstitions, I thought. Old people and their ghost stories. That night, I hung the painting in my studio, right across from my bed. And around 3 a.m., I woke up because someone was whispering my name. I didn't sleep much that night. The whisper had been soft, almost like a breath, but I knew it wasn't my imagination. My window was closed, the air still. When I turned on the light, the room looked normal, except for her, the woman in the painting. Her expression seemed slightly different. The corners of her mouth had lifted, just a bit, like a faint smile. I told myself it was the lighting, the shadows, but when I stepped closer, I noticed something else. Her eyes. They weren't looking straight ahead anymore. They were looking at me. I backed away, heart pounding. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me after the weird story from that shopkeeper. Still, I turned the painting around to face the wall before going to bed. That should have been the end of it. But the next morning, when I woke up, the painting was hanging the right way again. No one else had the key to my studio, and the woman's face, her faint smile, was now much wider. That night, I locked the studio door. I even moved the painting to the storage room. But around 3 a.m., the whispering came again, louder this time. I swear I heard her voice say, "You can't turn away now." When I went to check the storage room in the morning, the door was open, and the painting was back on the wall, exactly where I'd first hung it. Only now, there were fingerprints smeared across the inside of the glass frame. From the inside. I tried to tell myself it was stress, lack of sleep, but every time I walked into that room, I felt it. A weight in the air, thick and cold, like someone was standing right behind me. I decided to examine the painting closely. Maybe it had some hidden mechanism, something that made it look like it was changing. But when I leaned in, I noticed something new. There was a mark in the bottom corner. A signature. It hadn't been there before. At first I thought maybe I'd just missed it, but when I touched it, the red pigment smeared across my finger. It wasn't paint. It was wet. I ran to the sink, scrubbing my hands until my skin turned raw. But that night, I dreamt of her. The woman in the portrait, standing at the foot of my bed, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark, her voice whispering something I couldn't understand. When I woke up, my sheets were damp, stained with red smudges like fingerprints. And when I looked at the painting again, I saw it. The signature was clearer now, written in jagged, frantic strokes. It read, E.V. Laurent. I searched the name online. Nothing. But in an old art forum buried in a comment thread from years ago, someone had written, "Never buy a painting signed by E.V. Laurent. He didn't paint with oils. He painted with the blood of those he loved." I couldn't stop thinking about that name. E.V. Laurent. The way the letters looked, uneven, almost trembling, like they were written by someone dying. The more I searched, the deeper I fell into a pit of whispers and rumors. Most of the information about Laurent had been erased. No museum records, no surviving family, not even a birth certificate. But I found a name in a forgotten archive. A curator who once worked at the Musée du Nord in France, where Laurent's final exhibition had been held in 1892. The message I sent was desperate. "Do you know anything about a painting by E.V. Laurent, a portrait of a woman?" Hours later, I received a reply. "Burn it, if you still can." Attached was a single black and white photograph. It showed a man, gaunt, hollow-eyed, with paint smeared on his face, standing beside the very same painting I had bought. But what froze my blood wasn't the painting itself. It was the faint silhouette behind it, the woman from the painting, standing in the shadows, her hand resting on Laurent's shoulder. The curator's next message came seconds later. She was real. Her name was Elise, his wife. When she died, he refused to bury her. They say he used her body to create the pigment, to keep her with him forever. I dropped my phone, my stomach turned. When I looked back at the painting, her face was different again. She was smiling, and this time I swear I saw the faint reflection of someone else in her eyes, a reflection that looked just like me. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, Elise, standing at the foot of my bed, her pale face framed by the darkness, whispering words I couldn't understand. The painting had changed again. The background was no longer a dark blur. It was my apartment. The cracked mirror, the flickering lamp, even the half-empty bottle of wine on the table. She was inside my home. I tried to move it, to cover it, to hide it, but the moment I touched the frame, my hand burned. The wood pulsed beneath my fingers, warm and alive, as if it had a heartbeat. That night, I woke to the sound of something scratching the floor. When I turned on the light, the painting was gone from the wall. It was leaning against the doorway, facing my bed. I stumbled backward, breath shaking. The woman in the portrait now looked different. Her head tilted, her lips slightly parted, eyes gleaming like wet glass. She was looking directly at me. I remember shouting, throwing a blanket over it, running into the kitchen. But even there, I could hear the faint rasp of a brush against canvas. When I dared to look again, there was a new detail painted on the portrait, a faint outline of a man's figure, my figure. The brushstrokes formed slowly, almost deliberately, as if someone was painting me into it. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, frantic. Laurent's voice, deep, desperate. Elise's, soft, pleading. "You'll finish what I began. Stay with me. Become the last stroke." The room spun. I felt something move beneath my skin, like wet paint spreading through my veins. The mirror cracked. My reflection was no longer mine. It was his. Evie Laurent, smiling back at me. I could feel the paint crawling under my skin. Every heartbeat was a brushstroke, every shiver a splash of color. The whispers had turned into a chorus, chanting in a language older than memory. Elise's eyes glimmered from the canvas, pleading and commanding at once. I grabbed the frame and ran toward the fireplace, the only place that seemed capable of ending this nightmare. The canvas resisted, heavy, almost alive. The paint bubbled, forming shapes, forming my face. My hands were bleeding, leaving streaks of red across the brushstrokes. "Stop it! Stop this madness!" I screamed, but my voice sounded like it came from far away. The flames licked the edges of the painting. A shriek echoed. Elise, or perhaps Laurent, or maybe both. The image began to warp, twisting, screaming. I hurled the canvas into the fire. It caught instantly, black smoke curling upward, smelling of burnt oil and something rotten. For a moment, silence. Then a sharp crack, and I realized my hands were no longer mine. In the reflection of the shattered mirror, I saw it. My eyes, Elise's eyes. My lips, her smirk. My body, half human, half painted, dripping color like blood. The fire consumed the canvas, but it was too late. I was the last stroke, the final brushstroke of the cursed painting. And as the smoke filled the room, I felt the whispering, now inside me. Forever, part of the masterpiece. The apartment was quiet. The mirror was whole again. But in its reflection, I wasn't alone. Every new tenant, every passerby, their gaze would meet mine. I was watching, waiting, and the cursed painting had found its eternal vessel.